glory to him who loved us and freed us by shedding his blood for us. And all glory to him whom the grave could not hold, but who rose again on the third day, conquering death, redeeming sin, and giving life to those who were once dead, but now can be alive forever and ever and ever. Let's sing See What a Morning. See what a morning, gloriously bright, with the dawning of hope in Jerusalem. Folded the grave close, tomb filled with light, as the angels announce Christ is risen. See God's salvation plan, God's love born to pay, paid in sacrifice, fulfilled in Christ the Lamb. For He lives, Christ is risen from the dead. See Mary weeping, where is he laid? As in sorrow she turns from the empty tomb, hears a voice speaking, calling her name. It's the Master, the Lord, gives her life again. Their voice that spans the years, speaking life, stirring hope, bringing peace to us. Will sound till He appears, for He lives, Christ is risen from the dead. One with the Father, Ancient of Days, through the Spirit of glows, faith with certainty, honor and blessing, glory and praise to the King, crowned with power and authority. And we are raised with Him. Death is dead, love is won, Christ is conquered. And we shall reign with Him, for He lives, Christ is risen from the dead. And we are reign with Him. Death is dead, love is won, Christ is conquered. And we shall reign with Him, for He lives, Christ is risen from the dead.
Good afternoon, 1 o'clock. So welcome to our Wednesday relaunch. My name's Jerry, and lovely to see you here. Lovely to have you joining us online as well. Those of you who are joining us online, welcome to you. You may well be outside and not viewing, but we're here and enjoying a lovely day. So welcome to you. We take this opportunity every Wednesday, right about this time. Place is open all the time, so you're more than welcome to come in and just enjoy just being in the place and enjoy just a little bit of space. And we try and take the opportunity just very briefly, middle of the day, 1 o'clock, to pause and to really just pick up some sort of brain food, I suppose, just something to toss around our mind. And we try and latch on to one particular thought and just kind of tease our way around that and chew a little bit of that and then go on into the rest of the day on that basis. Today, the basic theme, I suppose, is that of greed. And the picture there is really just designed to underline that ultimately greed is something that is a captivating, enslaving thing in our lives. And what we do on a Wednesday is just read a few verses from the Bible. The Bible is a very practical book, has to do with life, and it's written so that we might enjoy life to the full. And we're reading about a family, pretty ordinary family, a guy called Lazarus, his two sisters, Mary and Martha. And they happened to know Jesus. They welcomed him into their home. And Lazarus had taken ill and had actually died. And then there's that remarkable story where Jesus brought this guy back to life again. You're thinking, wow. And it was an amazing thing. And this is the immediate aftermath to that. And I'm going to pick up on the theme of greed and how it is that we get freed from greed. So that's easily remembered, freed from greed. How does that happen in our lives? I'm going to think about that, but read these verses from the Bible first of all. We'll have them on the screen for you. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus lived, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. And here a dinner was given in Jesus' honor. Martha served, that's his sister, while Lazarus was among those reclining at the table with him. And then Mary, that's the other sister, took about a pint of pure nard, an expensive perfume, and she poured it on Jesus' feet and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. Andrew was kind of talking us through this last time and just underlining the way in which Mary was just full of gratitude, thanks. And gratitude is something that is liberating, whereas greed is something that is enslaving. And the story goes on. But one of Jesus' disciples, Judas Iscariot, you probably heard of this guy, who was later to betray him, objected. Why wasn't this perfume sold and the money given to the poor? It was worth a year's wages. That's a lot of money, in other words. He didn't say this because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. As keeper of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put into it. Leave her alone, Jesus replied. It was intended that she should save this perfume for the day of my burial. You will always have the poor among you, but you will not always have me. Now, the narrative there is really about this contrast between two individuals, one of whom is marked by gratitude and generosity, and one of whom is marked by greed. And I was thinking about this and trying to think my way into what greed actually looks like. And I remembered an occasion many years ago now. It's the only time I've ever been in the Holy Land, the land of Israel, and that's in the Middle East, the kind of eastern end of the Mediterranean. And it was a pretty hot day. We were up in the northern part of Israel, around about the Lake of Galilee. And the Lake of Galilee is actually about 600 feet below sea level, which means when the sun's up and it's a hot day, it is really hot. And I thought it would be a great day to kind of climb up the mountains and get a kind of view looking down on the Lake of Galilee and the River Jordan that flows out of it. And I thought, ideal for that. I like the sun. I like being able to walk up in the hills in the sun. And so I did. I trekked up into the hills around, quite a hard trek up the hills to get a great view. At the top, it was really, really hot. I was sweating like nobody's business. And at the top, as you're probably aware, sometimes you kind of start fantasizing. And I started fantasizing. And what I was fantasizing was about a bottle of Coca-Cola. I'd seen the adverts on the television, the pictures of Coca-Cola, and you see it just dripping with water packed in ice. And that's what I couldn't get out of my head. I thought, what I most need is Coca-Cola. That will really do the business for me. The adverts obviously had done the business. So I hoofed it down the hillside as quickly as I could because I knew there was a shop at the bottom. And I went into the shop and I said, can I have a bottle of Coke? And he said, yes. And he gave me the bottle of Coke. And it was out of the freezer, so it was all kind of dripping with the cold water. And I drank it down in a wunner. And I took it back and said, could I have another one? And he said, yeah, and I drank that, and I took it back almost immediately and said, can I have another one? And I went through, you're not going to believe this, I went through 8 bottles of Coca-Cola that day. And after the 8th one, the guy who was making a packet out of me, but to be fair to the guy, he was reasonably honest as well. He said, listen, he said, I think you're asking for the wrong thing. I don't think it's Coca-Cola you need. I think it's probably water. And I said, have you got any water? He said, yes, sir. And he got me some water, and that did the business. And I was thinking, it's that sort of thing that lies behind what's going on in this particular narrative. There are two individuals here. There's Mary, who is happy to give all that she has, her prized possession, namely this bottle of perfume, very expensive perfume, about a year's wages. You work that out, that's a lot of money. And she opens it up and she pours it all over the feet of Jesus. Why? Just because she wants to say thank you. For who he is, for all that he's done, for the way that she has seen him bring her brother back to life. She cannot give him enough. She is full of gratitude. And there's Mary on the one hand, and then on the other side of the picture, there's this guy Judas. And Judas just always he kind of can't see that without thinking, you could have sold that and made a packet of money, and I could have got a little bit of a bit of that and made something for myself as well. He's always grasping for more. And that's the thing about greed. It doesn't matter how much you have. It's never enough. It doesn't matter that you had 7 bottles of Coke. You still need another one because it's not doing the business. It's not really satisfying the deepest needs that we have. And that whole packet of greed really begins right in the beginning in the Garden of Eden, the famous story there about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. And God has said, everything in the garden, it's all yours. Just go out and enjoy it, except for this one tree. And although they have been given everything to enjoy, all sorts of good fruit, all sorts of good trees, all sorts of good food, and so on and so forth, but they still want something more. And it becomes enslaving. And the difference between this guy, Judas, on the one hand, who is marked by greed, and Mary on the other, is simply this, that Mary has understood that having this person, Jesus, in her life is ultimately all that you need, because with him, you have everything. And she is simply thrilled to bits to have him. And she can cope with all that life throws at her because she has meaning, she has purpose, she has the security of knowing that she matters, that this Jesus cares for them, that he's happy to come to their home, come to be with them, to help them in their need, and is there for them. And there's not going to be need that she has that he's not going to be able to address for her. So having him, she's got everything. And therefore she's glad to give of all that she has in that manner to him as well. And that really is the difference. God means that we should be freed from our greed. And in the Bible there's a letter written by a guy called Paul where he says, I have learned the secret of being content. And he's talking there about, this being freed from greed. When you're content, you aren't needing something more. You aren't always wanting something more than you've got. And he goes on, I have learned the secret of being content in any and all situations. And his secret is simply, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. And he's talking there about Jesus. I can do all things through Jesus who gives me strength. If I have him, I've got everything. And I'm able to live my life with him, enjoying his company, through him, enjoying his strength and his power, and for him, enjoying his purpose in my life as well. And it's to that God means that we should move. And every day we have choices. We're making choices all through the day. What we're going to wear, what we're going to eat, who we're going to be with, where we're going to be, and so on and so forth. Whether we're going to come in here, whether we're going to stay in here, whether we're going to have the soup or not have the soup. And we're making choices all the time. And the choice that we have is ultimately always between, do we go Judas line or do we go Mary line? Are we going to be people who give, or are we going to be people who grasp? Are we going to be people who need and want always more, or are we going to be satisfied with what God has given to us in the person of his son, Jesus? Well, enjoy what's left of your lunch and enjoy the rest of the week as well. And learn that as a way to live your life. The secret of being content, not needing anymore, not wanting anymore, is to know that with this risen, living Jesus, you have everything, and enjoy life with him. So let me just close off with a brief prayer. Lord, we thank you for these moments in the middle of the day just to pause and to reflect a little bit on the Bible, what you teach us there. Thank you that you've given us that so that we may understand how life is to be lived. We want to live it in the right sort of way. We want to live it in a way that means we're not always thirsting for something more, but we learn to recognize that in the same way as it wasn't Coca-Cola, but water that was going to satisfy my need, so it's not all these other things that we often think are so important that are going to satisfy us, but it's the gift of your Son, whom you describe as the living water. Help us to live our lives with him. Help us to live our lives for him. Help us to live our lives through him as well. Thank you for him. And may we know your continued presence with us as we ask in his name. Amen. Good. Well, enjoy your lunch. Lovely to have you here. As always, lovely to have you joining us online, whether live or subsequently. Enjoy the rest of the week, and God bless you.